morning and welcome back. Now we're going to turn to Turkey. Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, who is widely regarded as President Erdogan's main rival, was formally detained by Turkish authorities on March 23rd on corruption charges pending trial. This has led to widespread protests across the country against the incumbent regime. To discuss, I have İlkan Dalkuç Director, Daktilo 1984, joining me right now. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Before we start our conversation, I just wanted to point out to our viewers that we can see live images coming from Istanbul as a large demonstration is currently underway there. So 1,900 people have been arrested from what I gathered so far. The protest started after Imamoglu's detention. What shall we make of it? Is it a proof of political democratic backsliding in Turkey? And how do you see these protests developing?
This is definitely a proof of democratic backsliding in Turkey, because we all know that the detention and all the investigations about Ekrem İmamoğlu is really connected with the presidential candidacy of İmamoğlu, and by these kind of investigations and the other educational issues, actually government wants to stop the possibility of İmamoğlu becoming a real candidate against Erdogan in the upcoming elections.
Okay, but there are some similarities, right, between İmamoğlu and Erdogan. Apparently, if someone wins Istanbul, that is, becomes a mayor of Istanbul, he has high chances of winning the country. This is what Erdogan says sometimes. Because he himself was also detained, right, before he became prime minister. Can you sort of explain some of these similarities?
Yes, there are some similarities between Ekrem İmamoğlu and Tayyip Erdogan, and but we mustn't very hurry about these kind of similarities. We mustn't give a lot of importance to these similarities, because the Turkish government is used to be more divided. Turkish state apparatus is used to be more divided than today in the 1990s. The time that Erdogan was arrested, actually there are some factions of government who are against the arrest of Tayyip Erdogan. So Tayyip Erdogan may make his way out very easily. I mean, he got to the jail just 3 months time, so he's just out of the jail, and after that he also had a political ban, and he did overcome this ban with the help of opposition. So Erdogan can make his way out of this kind of pressure. But in İmamoğlu's case, he is facing a much more credible and much more strong oppression, because we all know that the state apparatus in Turkey is much more unified against İmamoğlu, because there aren't as much as different factions in the state apparatus. I mean, in the judiciary, in the security apparatus, and I can easily add that the power of Erdogan is very strong and stable today.
Absolutely. Despite the arrest, however, the CHP party has nominated İmamoğlu as their presidential candidate right down the line, of course, when the elections will take place. So how can he campaign from jail? What is going to happen?
I mean, his judicial process will take a lot of time, so that he will not be actually suspended to become a presidential candidate. But he is also banned. He may be banned because of his university degree issue. Government face İmamoğlu simultaneously between two issues. One of them is investigations. One of them is his university degree issue. Government wants to stop Erdogan by this degree issue also. So he should also face and overcome these obstacles. against him.
Right.
He may. There is a small possibility of he becoming a candidate from the prison. But we don't know that. We don't really know that, because in the judicial process we cannot really rely on what kind of a decision will came from Turkish judicial system.
Right, but the move to deprive Imamoglu of his university degree was also regarded as highly controversial, right? It was politically motivated, according to some analysts. Do we have proof of that? How does this look like?
I mean, we cannot really pinpoint this kind of issues, but his nullification of his degree is actually happened 1 or 2 days before this investigations got started, and that is just 4 or 5 days before CHP's presidential primaries. So that the timing is actually the main proof of it. And other than that, his degree is nearly 30 years old, and he got also his master's degrees, and this is also a real proof. And he is also running mayor of Istanbul in 6 years. So the timing is actually the main proof of this issue.
Mm-hmm. But we're talking about Imamoglu as, of course, one person here. But could this move by Turkish authorities to arrest him, to detain him, could it unify opposition parties, opposition leaders against Erdogan?
It can unify, but we all know that Turkish oppositions consist of different factions, and these factions have their own issues. For example, the Kurdish opposition against Erdogan is also making their transactions, their engagements with Erdogan by themselves naturally, and there is a peace process is ongoing by parallel between these investigations. So government wants to fracture Turkish opposition, and if the government wants to overcome Erdogan, first of all, overcome this kind of fractions and these divisions between opposition. And other than that, opposition should mainly focus on divide the state apparatus under Erdogan.
Mm-hmm, of course. Okay. So Imamoglu was initially arrested on March 19th and then formally arrested on March 23rd. So these protests in response to what has unfolded have been going on for a while. However, it seems that the government is sort of doing the opposite. I mean, what I'm getting at is that they just arrested his lawyer, apparently. So instead of trying to decrease pressure, they're detaining and arresting more people. Why?
They try to object fear against the opposition, basically. Now for example, we are now seeing the main rival of Imamoglu within opposition, Mansur Yavaş, is speaking to the crowd on the protest. So some of the parts of oppositions get together under this kind of pressure, and some of them will diminish. That is the strategy of Erdogan. We cannot really know that. There are some factions of opposition who may think that this kind of oppression may be a chance to them to take on the stage. That's the person's character. We cannot really know that. There are this kind of political shenanigans that they can happen. Government wants to play on that card.
And what could make Erdogan change his mind? What about Turkey's economy that has been reacting negatively to what's going on?
Yeah. You are totally right. The economy is one of the main factors of this situation. Erdogan don't really rely on one subject, but economy is really one of the most important subjects that he cares. Other than that, I don't think, for example, foreign pressure can really affect Erdogan on this situation. But if the foreign situation through Erdogan changed, he may reconsider some kind of his actions. And other than that, the inner party, the inner Erdogan, if Erdogan sees some kind of threat within his ranks, I mean, that can really change the situation, because the the threat of the opposition is actually minimal to him, because we don't really because he can really hold his grasp on judicial system and security forces. So other than that, the main threat coming from the opposition is limited through Erdogan.
What about the EU? Because the EU has condemned what unfolded. So what are Turkey's relations with the EU right now?
Actually, I am seeing and watching EU and all the West reaction to these issues. The Western media is actually very fair and balanced on that issue, but Western governments are trying to hold themselves outside this issue. They try to distance themselves because, first and foremost, they cannot really intervene. And they're if they're seen intervening, they can really affect negatively and opposite. So that the Western governments are staying aside these issues. And we all know that Turkey as a strong. Turkey is a strong, with a strong army, with a big economy. Western powers really need this kind of strong country next to themselves. So I don't see that any meaningful pressure will face Erdogan from West.
Some argue that on the global scale, the election of Donald Trump as American president has emboldened some of autocratic leaders, including Erdogan. Do you agree with this statement?
I'm totally agree with that statement, because if you see that investigation very closely, it started with the minor mayors in Istanbul from Esenyurt. For example, that arrest came just a week before Trump got elected. I mean, when it is certain that Trump get elected, the arrest started. And other than that, these investigations, like an avalanche, add up in the last couple of months. So I can really say that the election of Trump really triggered these investigations, and maybe emboldened, maybe encourage Erdogan to take this step forward.
And let's also explain to our viewers, to round up our conversation, why Turkey is so important for the US.
Turkey is really important to the United States because Turkey is the second largest army. Turkey has the second largest army in NATO after the United States, and Turkey really has a very important. Turkey has a very important military base of United States in Incirlik, and other than that, Turkey and United States really collaborating against, for example, Iran, against Russia in Africa, and that there are lots of issues that the United States actually can collaborate with Turkey, even if Turkey and United States has some own problems.
İlkan Dalkuç, thank you so much for clarifying some of these issues for us. Much appreciated.
Good to be here.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.